How much are you worth? I know it's a pretty personal question, but in this day and age, it's an important one. You already know how important it is if you're planning on getting a mortgage or you're planning for retirement. Knowing one's worth is just part of our mindset, part of our culture these days. A few days ago, I was watching the Food Channel, and I just was channel surfing, and I saw a face that I recognized, but I didn't know who it was. Turned out it was a country star, Trisha Yearwood. Did you know she has her own cooking show? I do now. So I did what every good person does these days. I Googled Trisha Yearwood. The first search result came back, and it told me more than I ever wanted to really know about Trisha Yearwood. But did you know she's married to Garth Brooks? All of a sudden I thought, cha-ching. So I looked again. The second search result said Trisha Yearwood net worth. About $350 million. With Garth, of course. Seems like all Google searches seem to be set up that way. The first one tells you all you want to know about the person, and the second one says their name and net worth. You look up any celeb, musician, star, politician, any public figure of notoriety. If you look up poor Elon, richest man in the world, besides taking a hit or two recently, still the richest, but instead of being worth $400 billion, is only now worth $360 billion. That's more than the entire wealth of over 140 various countries. The calculation is simple. To get the net of what you're worth, you take your total assets and you minus your total liabilities equals net worth. We're so ingrained to think this way, we unconsciously make the same calculations, not just monetarily, but spiritually and even psychologically. My assets, the good, minus my liabilities, my sin, equals my worth. The problem with this thinking is that it invariably, from my experience, leads people to view their sinfulness as always outweighing their goodness. It's so much easier to see our shortcomings instead of our goodness. So often ending up with the notion that we must not be worth very much at all in the grand scheme of things. Over the last 30 years, I've counseled many people, and as Father Mike said, I've heard a lot of confessions. I'm just not able to offer the absolution. So many times I have heard the same mantra over and over and over. I cannot believe God can forgive me after all my sins, all my bad, all my falling short. Whatever you call it, the net is the same, equating worth with value. I am not worth God's mercy and love. Now for the good news, and the reason why we call this day Good Friday. Even though it depicts the most horrible event ever to take place in our world, the death of Jesus Christ, the Son of the living God. You see, God does not use our calculation for determining worth. God does not hold a scale and measure the good on one side and the bad on the other. And if the scale tips towards the good, well, you're saved. And if it tips towards the bad, not saved. Instead, it's not about us at all. The good in Good Friday is that Jesus Christ on the cross said, I will take all your bad, all your shortcomings, all your sin, and I will overshadow it with my love for you by offering myself in its place. That's what our first reading was all about today. Jesus says, from that cross, I will make you worthy. Today is the day we look at Jesus hanging on that cross and seeing that God's love overshadows our sin. Today, the most famous passage in all of Scripture probably comes true. For God so loved the world that he gave his only Son to suffer and die so that all who would believe in him would have the opportunity for life everlasting. It's like Father Mike said last night, God's love is not a trickle, but a flood. God's love is not like standing in the shower, but like standing at the bottom of Niagara Falls. You're not just washed, but you're literally stripped clean. Many years ago, I was alone in the church I worked at doing preparations for Good Friday. In walks this man. I don't know where he came from. I don't know who he was. But he was clearly not Catholic, because he walked right up to me and he says, I can't understand why you Catholics have Jesus hanging on the cross. You know, he's not still there. I must have been in a mood, because I said, we know that. This is what I can't understand is how any so-called Christian would not want to gaze upon, contemplate, and even venerate the symbol of the very moment their sin was purged and that they were made worthy of spending eternity with God. To me, it speaks of self-centered ingratitude. He left without saying a word. In just a moment, we're going to come to the cross. As we do so, I ask you to contemplate the sacrifice made just for you. For even if there was only one of us, Jesus would have done the same thing. Look and see what love truly is. But Jesus himself says, no one has greater love than this, to lay down one's life for one's friends. Today on Good Friday, it is the day we come to the cross and discover, maybe for some of us for the first time, that our net worth may be greater than we had ever even imagined.